Hello, friends, both old and new. I am John St. Baptiste, and this is Music Makes the People Come Together, where we share amazing and eclectic music with amazing and eclectic people, much as yourselves. I released the teaser earlier this morning, well, afternoonish, but let's be okay about that. Anyway, teaser was released earlier. That is what ties the whole theme of the week together for this week. Teaser today was Even Better Than the Real Thing by U2 from the album Achtung Baby. And that's the entire point of this week's music. Because this week's theme is melodrama. If you are, have been, or have a teenager, I'm sure you're familiar with melodrama. If I just offended somebody, sorry, but hey, it's the truth. So, I know this. Being a parent of somebody who was recently a teenager, melodrama, lots of it. So, Even Better Than the Real Thing, which is a track I love. I love this album. It came out in 1991. It was one of my favorites. Still is. Not necessarily my favorite U2 album, but one of my favorite U2 albums. I did not get to see it live on the tour, but I did get to see the next tour, which was the Zooropa tour, which was awesome. There were tellies all over the place, and just all this footage going on at the same time. It was a sensory overload, which was kind of what it was supposed to be all about. So that's the theme for this week, moving right into the main playlists. The Better to Be Happy track for this week is Nightcore's remix of Poison by Alice Cooper. Anyone my age remembers this track, I am sure. It's a pretty melodramatic song. It's about just how you can have a horrible, wretched, probably psychologically or even physically or sexually abusive relationship. It's kind of an interesting take on the whole concept of codependency, but it's an awesome track and it's really fun to listen to. Even though it's happy hardcore, it's kind of dark, which I thought would be kind of fun and tie everything together this week. Moving on, the opera for this week on the fracking opera mix is La Traviata by Giuseppe Verdi. The libretto is done by Francisco Maria Piaviati. This is an amazing opera. It is so heart-wrenching and so tragic. If you don't at least tear up a little bit, you have no soul. Just saying, you have no soul. It's okay. Some people don't have souls. That's fine. If my callous, cynical Voltairean ass can tear up over this, you probably will too. That being said, if you're a fan of Baz Luhrmann or just awesome movies in general, the libretto for this opera is actually the basis for Moulin Rouge, which is an unbelievable film. If you watch the opera and you watch Moulin Rouge, you can see so many similarities. Interesting piece of trivia, Verdi wanted to set this at the current time, which when it came out was in the late 19th century, and nobody would take it. He had to set it further back in the past because it's so dark and so critical of societal standards and norms and things at the time. So that is kind of cool. It was never properly produced the way it was supposed to be until like the 1920s. Also, this version has Renee Fleming, Be Still My Beating Heart, as the main soprano part, which is Violetta. Renee Fleming, if any of you are as big of dorks as I am, you probably know that she did a number of the vocal parts in Howard Shore's composition for the Lord of the Rings films. Her voice, ethereal, doesn't even begin to touch it. Oh my gosh, Renee Fleming. One of my first loves. Speaking of first loves, moving right on. The full track for this week is... This is awesome. It was kind of hard to come by, but I'm so happy I did. So a few weeks ago, I did the same thing with Nine Inch Nails and the Downward Spiral tour. This is The Cure doing the entire not Lullaby, that's the song out there. The entire Disintegration album, start to finish, doing the entire album live in a performance. Anytime I can find this type of stuff, I want to upload it for you guys on the full list because I think it's so great when a band just takes their whole album and does it. And share that with you, I think is wonderful. I think the band taking the time to, instead of, just playing the big stuff or just playing the new stuff or whatever, just takes the entire album and from the most popular tracks to the deepest cuts, goes right across. The sound quality on this is pretty freaking decent. And the video experience is awesome. I love this album. It's an extremely melodramatic album by an extremely melodramatic band, but I love it and I enjoy it. And for the grown-ups in the room, I have a certain special memory involving this album, which we're not going to go into because children might be present, but I'm sure you can figure that one out. It involves my teenage years. Anyway, moving right along. The cover that kicks ass this week is my girl, Tori Amos, doing a cover of Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart. If you love karaoke as much as I do, I'm sure you've heard a million botched and about 20 good versions of this, karaoke versions. Oh my gosh, you don't get more melodramatic than this song, but Tori doing it takes it to a whole nother level. It's heart-wrenching. The whole reason for melodrama is to be more dramatic than real life because it pulls at the heartstrings. And she does this really well. I never got to see her perform this. I've seen Tori twice. She never performed it when I saw her, and I heard about this, and I searched, and I finally found a version. The compiler put together their own video of essentially photos with the track behind it. It is pretty well done, and the music, of course, is just absolutely awesome. Okay, so the track this week on the Whose House? John's House mix, which is the newest mix that I'm putting up for all of you, is Apotheosis doing O Fortuna from Carmina Burana by Carl Orff. This track came out in 1991, very early house track. It is quintessential to house music. It is so loud and powerful and hard and fast. And the ballet that this comes from, it's very rare that you have a choral ballet, but this is one. Carl Orff made an amazing one. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Please find yourself the libretto for the ballet, and look up a translation. It's heart-wrenching. I mean, it pulls the strings like I don't know what. Great music. Just great music. Apotheosis really kind of took house music and took it up to that next level where it just started getting more and more industrial influence and more hard and loud and fast, which not all house music is done, thank gosh, because there should be more than one type of thing. That's what this whole site is about, is there's more than one type of music, and I want to share all of them with you, and I want you to share all of them with me. Which reminds me, if you have music you want to share with me, put it in the comment section down below. Speaking of down below, the playlist for this week will be in the description, so you can check out all those tracks. Also, if you go to my playlists, you can check out all the other mixes, of which these are part. They're parts of a whole. It makes a great playlist for the week, but I would hope that you would like to check out all of the covers that kick ass, or all of the Fracking Opera, or all these things. If you have suggestions, please leave them for me down in my comments section because I'd like to hear your music. This is all about sharing music. Me sharing music with you, you sharing music with me. And please, if you meet somebody in the comments that you want to share music with each other, please. Speaking of sharing, please share this video along with my others if you enjoyed it. It helps the channel out so much. Also, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Google always needs to be told twice. Can't listen the first time. It's just the way it is, you know? So, thank you so much for stopping by. Also, I want to give my weekly shout out. I shout out anybody who mentions me on their channels. Azora Hype, In Deep Geek, and AU Pack Mule, thank you so much. You have brought people to my channel that would not normally be here, and it means so much to me. Thank you so very much. So, trivia. Last week's trivia question was name at least 3 of the members of the Jackson 5. It was answered by PapaTab01, and his answer was correct. It was Jermaine, Michael, and Tito. Other 2, by the way, were Jackie and Marlon. Papa Tab got the smooch of the week for last week, smooch of the week for this week. So I always sign off with the same line. And I want to know who knows where that line comes from. I'm about to say it. First, I'm going to say thanks one more time for coming to check my stuff out and enjoy the music. And in the meantime, be excellent to one another and party on.